This isn't a ghost story. This really happened. Some urban legends warn you not to walk alone at night. Others tell you to ignore unknown phone calls. But this one tells you never to trust a message that promises to help you. Because years before spam filters existed, before social media took over our lives, before anyone really talked about online predators, there was a man hiding behind emails, a man who didn't scream, didn't chase, didn't threaten. He offered help. They called him the Slavemaster. His real name was John Edward Robinson. And here's the terrifying part. Most people who encountered him had no idea they were victims, until it was far too late. John Edward Robinson was born in 1943 in Cicero, Illinois, a quiet, working-class suburb outside Chicago. On the surface, his early life looked completely normal. Religious household, church on Sundays. He seemed intelligent, polite, ambitious. But even early on, Robinson showed signs. He was drawn to authority, fascinated by control, and he was good at making people trust him. He liked power, the idea of being obeyed. As a teenager, he got into petty crimes, manipulative behavior, nothing that set off major alarms, but enough to make you wonder. He studied at a seminary for a bit, then dropped out. As a young man, he bounced from job to job, often leaving behind whispers of fraud or misconduct. Eventually, he got married, started a family, blended right in. From the outside, John Robinson looked like someone you could trust, and that was the entire problem. By the early 1990s, Robinson was already a seasoned con artist. Stolen money, fake documents, more reinventions than anyone could count. And then, he discovered something new: the internet. Back when emails still felt personal, almost exclusive, Robinson understood something most people hadn't figured out yet. Something we still underestimate today. You don't need force. You don't need fear. You just need someone to believe you. Using fake names, Robinson entered online forums, BDSM communities, submission groups, alternative lifestyle spaces. There, he created a persona that would become infamous. He called himself the Slavemaster. He presented himself as wealthy, experienced, disciplined. He promised structure, safety, financial support. His messages were calm, respectful, carefully designed to appeal to women who were vulnerable, emotionally, financially, psychologically. And he knew exactly how to spot them. Once contact was made, Robinson would escalate, slowly. This is where the line between consent and control disappeared. Contracts were signed, travel plans were arranged, victims were encouraged, sometimes pressured, to cut ties with friends and family. And when they finally arrived, they vanished. At least 6 women are confirmed victims of Robinson. Some were murdered shortly after meeting him. Others were held captive, abused, controlled, and then killed. Robinson strangled them, dismembered them, stored their bodies in barrels. Some remains were hidden in rented storage units. Others were buried, abandoned. But investigators found something that even seasoned detectives called deeply disturbing. Even after killing them, Robinson continued the deception. He sent emails to families, pretending the women were still alive. He forged letters, cashed their checks, drained their accounts. Some investigators believe, though it was never fully proven, that Robinson got satisfaction from maintaining control even after death, prolonging the illusion of obedience. Whether that's true or not, the effect was devastating. Families waited, they hoped, they trusted, and for years, Robinson got away with it. Until one disappearance didn't just fade quietly into silence. In 2000, a young woman named Tiffany Stassi went missing. Tiffany was in her early 30s, still figuring things out, you know? She had dreams of independence, of security, of building something real for herself. She was looking for stability, a fresh start. She thought she'd found an opportunity that could actually help her move forward. Instead, that opportunity led her straight to John Edward Robinson. Unlike the others, Tiffany's family refused to accept silence. They pushed back, they asked questions, and eventually, police traced her last known contact back to Robinson. A search warrant was issued, and authorities made a discovery that ended everything. Inside a rented storage unit, they found barrels, and inside those barrels, human remains. Once that was uncovered, Robinson's carefully constructed world fell apart. Emails, contracts, fake identities, all of it pointed back to him. The digital trail he thought protected him became the evidence that destroyed him. In 2002, John Edward Robinson was convicted of multiple murders and sentenced to death. He died in prison years later. The Slavemaster was gone, but his name? It refused to disappear. After Robinson's arrest, something strange started happening. Emails began circulating online. They told stories about a man called the Slavemaster, about women who disobeyed and paid the price. Some versions claimed he was still out there. Others said the message itself was cursed, that if you didn't forward it, something bad would happen to you. None of it was true, but people panicked anyway. The emails spread, evolving into a digital urban legend, part warning, part myth, part memory of something that actually happened. Even people who'd never heard of Robinson felt uneasy reading them, because the scariest part wasn't the threat itself, it was how plausible it all felt. Today, our inboxes are flooded. Dozens of emails every day. Unknown senders, weird subject lines, messages we delete without even reading because there are just too many to care about. And most of us assume the dangerous ones would be obvious. But once, not that long ago, a single email was enough to destroy a life. John Edward Robinson didn't break into homes. He didn't lurk in dark alleys or hide in the shadows. He didn't chase his victims down. He just waited patiently behind a screen for someone to trust him. So the next time you scroll past an unfamiliar message, a promise, an offer, a request for help, just remember, not every monster announces itself. Some of them just ask you to trust them. And somewhere, buried beneath years of spam and forgotten chain letters, the name Slavemaster still lingers. Not as a threat, but as a reminder. Sleep well, and check your inbox.